And we are live. This is a big moment because we are officially launching the Make Time for Play podcast. And we've been talking about this for a while, but for everyone tuning in, welcome to the podcast. We are so thrilled to have you. And we're just excited to make some time for play and talk about board games a little bit, as well as some other stuff. But first off, let's tell the audience a little bit about Make Time for Play. Like, what's the whole purpose? Why are we starting a podcast? Yeah, what's the story here?
When I think about just why I'm in the toy industry, I know we're going to get a little bit to our backgrounds. A lot of it just has to do with just that value, just making sure we don't lose play. And I know that when I first started in the toy industry, it was very much a kid-focused topic, but it has continued to expand from like kids to tweens and to teens, and now like the big thing is Kidult play, just because we all need it. And then I go back and remember this internship that I did in college and my first time like managing a branch of a business and all that. And another story for another time. But he was talking about just how we schedule our time, and he said, make sure to schedule your playtime in there, just because I don't want you to hate your life while you're doing this internship. And so, despite my feelings for that company not being great since, that stuck with me.
I love that so much. And I think especially as we get older and life doesn't slow down, and you see the importance of what you just said even more and more, right? It's like, if you don't make time for the stuff that matters, and play matters, man. That's the thing. It's like, obviously, when you say play, you think kids, but the truth is everybody needs play. And you got to make time for it though. So anyway, sorry to interject. I just had to reemphasize what you're saying there, because I love that concept. And when you brought up the idea, we're trying to come up with a name for this and like the reason why, and you said make time for play. And I just immediately knew. I was like, that's it. Like, because that's so important. But anyway, yeah, sorry to cut you off. What other thoughts did you have?
Oh no, you're good. And that's basically it. I mean, you summed it up beautifully. And now as a parent, it's so easy. Like, our schedules just get more full and more full. And
oh my gosh.
So just, making sure that we're scheduling in, okay, when are we like having some legit family time, because it's going to take a lot of forms. Making sure that our kids have, even play dates. I wasn't even planning on talking about this, but it's completely different how kids play with other kids nowadays than when we did growing up, because we had the home landline and can pick up the phone and call our friends ourselves.
Yep.
but now our kids depend on us because we don't have landlines. And so I've got to tell my kids, okay, ask your friends what their parents' phone numbers are at school. Then I've got to make sure that I'm going out of my way to be like, okay, hey, let's text your friend to see if they can play.
Yes.
And now, obviously, you and I love board gaming, but this really can take the form, like so many different forms for so many different people. It doesn't have to be board gaming. It could be toys. It could be, I don't know, going to conventions, if that's your thing, reading comic books, video games, sports, whatever.
Yeah. Yes. And play at its core is such a beautiful thing. We're getting like so philosophical now, if I keep going down this route. I was involved with an organization called Play Theory for a long time, and I've done a deep dive into play, and it is so important, and it's important for everybody. And it's a love language. It lowers the stakes. It helps you be present. It helps you, accept and build and be, adaptable to your surroundings. It's a beautiful thing. And I just love that we are launching this podcast. Obviously board games are going to be the heavy topic at hand, but it can go a lot of directions. So anyway, make time for play. That is the goal of the podcast. And we're just thrilled to have you here. We kind of did a little bit of personal intros, but just so the audience knows who we are, maybe let's just do that. And then we can talk about some brief updates in the industry, the board game industry, and then keep going through the outline. So a little bit about me, Neal Hooper. I love board games, and I'm just honored to have David here. He's actually a big reason that I'm as deep into board games as I am. Played them my whole life, but David was the one that really took me to Gen Con, got me even deeper, showed me how many amazing board games are out there. And it's just been game over ever since. So thanks for that, David. But yeah, I definitely love board games. I am a board game designer as well. So that's another story for another time, but I definitely got some fun projects in the works that we'll probably talk about at some point. And I'm the owner of Good Apple Games, and my family and I sell board games locally here in Southern Utah. And yeah, that's me in a nutshell. Speaking of my family, I'm married to Abria Hooper, who you will see on the Good Apple Games YouTube channel and Instagram account every once in a while. She also loves board games, and we got 4 little kiddos, and we're just living the dream down here. And I think that's good enough for me in a nutshell. David, why don't you go ahead and share a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, and I just want to chime in really quick. I know you've heard me say this time and time again, but like I can't stop. Like anytime you and I are talking and we talk games, I can't stop thinking of years ago when you and your, I think before any of us had kids, you and your wife came over and we had a few others and we played Killer Bunnies and then we also played Proheast by Blue Orange Games. But just like how your wife refused to do anything like on the offense. It was all just about survival, not like attack anybody, especially in a game like Killer Bunnies. She would not try to what is it, smuggle illegal loot, or I can't remember the exact language for that game of Pro. But now how today she's like cutthroat and
Oh, she's gotten vicious.
so I just love that. That just anyway.
No, I love it too, man. Yeah, we've definitely brought out. I've seen a new side of my wife since we've gotten into all this board gaming stuff.
Oh my
It's a fun
gosh,
side. I like it.
I'm a father of 3 and a husband, and I just love game time with my family, and it does take several forms for us because we do mix video games in there. But that I have even noticed lately that sometimes it's even easy to default to like too much screen time and all of that. So it's been a refreshed effort to make time, be intentional about like playing tabletop games and such. And so, but yeah, I've been in the toy and game industry since childhood, and when my parents bought a toy store, and yeah, I worked in it, grew up in it until just this last year, until I decided to join the repping side of the industry. Now, for those who have only been in the game industry, the closest thing I can compare ourselves to are distributors. The difference is that we get contracted to handle sales for publishers or toy manufacturers, what have you. And a good friend of mine recently just made what I thought was just a brilliant description of reps. We're like the honeybees of the industry because
Oh, I like
given that
that.
given that we're visiting so many different stores of different types, so we cross pollinate ideas, trends, and just all of that good stuff. And I've been loving this side of the industry, and just kind of being able to put a little bit more focus on the parts of it that I love, which are building relationships and helping others succeed.
I love it, man. That was a great overview. And David's being modest. He's very, very connected in the toy and game industry. And it's so fun. I love going to conventions with David because I feel like I'm, the wingman for some, toy or game royalty. I get get introduced to awesome people every time I hang out with David. So anyway, you're awesome, man. Thank you for that. I think next on the agenda is just a little bit of a few updates from us. We just got back from PAX Unplugged in Philadelphia, and I mean, just some key highlights. It was an amazing trip. It was so fun. Definitely exhausting. I don't know how long it took you to recover from the trip, but I was like, there was just a few days I was kind of like, okay, I'm sleeping in and going to bed early for a few
Right.
days. but it was awesome. I mean, there was so many games there. So many. We connected with some publishers. Got to go hang out after hours with some awesome people. I got to meet some cool new people and pitch some of my games to a few publishers that I've been in contact with since. And there were just tons of games that were good as well. So, what are some other highlights, David, from PAX Unplugged?
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, I don't know that I've been that pooped from a trade show, or whether it be consumer facing or industry only, in a long time. We were coming home beat, but it was so productive. In terms of updates, I mean, it has just been interesting. We are in a funky year with just the uncertainty of the direction that tariffs are going to go. Just the fact that we don't know what the plan is and what the end goal is, and how it's going to affect things. That's where I think a lot of the stress is coming from. So, I mean, we noticed that both at Gen Con and PAX Unplugged, the op games wasn't there when normally they have a massive presence, and
That was crazy to me.
they just wanted to play it extra safe, and Yeah, so I don't know. I know that's really high level and now kind of like on the industry side, but I'm noticing just the increase as well in two-player games. I thought that was going to die last year, and I don't know, but I'm liking some of what's coming out, and I think we'll talk about some games that we've played recently because yeah, some of those favorites of mine are those two-player games.
Dude, one of the highlights for me, and then also one of the biggest regrets from PAX Unplugged, one of the highlights was playing tag team with you, which is great.
Right?
We can talk a little bit more about that. Which is another great game from the same people that did Sky Team.
Sky Team?
There's a blank on the
Yeah.
name. But that was a great one. My biggest regret was not buying White Castle Duel. I was
Oh,
right there. I had it in my hand. I bought Covenant from DeVere, and I had White Castle Duel in my hand. I was like, I'm going to pace myself. And then they sold out by the time I went back. And anyway, I was bummed about that. But yeah, that is an interesting trend, though. And we can kind of mix in the industry news and our updates from the convention here because I just saw an article from the CEO of Asmodee who said they've been killing it. They've been having a great year, but they've noticed a huge shift in they're seeing increased sales in their smaller box games and their cheaper lines, and the sales have gone down on the bigger box, more expensive games. So it's just to your point. I think there's a lot of things at play here, especially in the U.S. But the tariffs for sure is a part of that. But definitely some interesting trends there. A few other things with PAX that were just awesome. All Play, I got to work the All Play booth and demo some games. That was such a fun experience, and All Play is just killing it. I just put out a review on our channel, Good Apple Games for French Toast, and we've just been playing that so much since PAX Unplugged as a family, and it's just amazing. I think it's almost the perfect party game. And we've just been playing it like crazy. But All Play, it was so fun. I worked like 3 half days there. My voice was definitely shot by the end of that, and then helped out a little bit at Happy Camper. I know you were helping out at booths too. So anyway, that was definitely a highlight for me though. Well, let's get into the topic for today's show. And really, the topic is an interesting one. And I don't know where it's going to go. We talked a little bit about this at PAX, but it's the question and the topic is, are there too many games? And it's an interesting topic because I think I've heard hot takes on both ends of this topic, and I don't quite know where I fall yet, but I thought it would be fun to discuss. And I think it's been really fun to see the huge growth in the tabletop industry overall over the last 10 plus years. But I'll admit, man, I was walking around the convention hall at PAX Unplugged and at Gen Con 2 this year, and there's so many booths, there's so many publishers, so many games, and it's kind of overwhelming. And so, on one end of the topic, you have people saying there are way too many games. People should stop putting out games that don't know what they're doing, or these indie publishers. There's just too much going on. And then you have the other end of the spectrum that is, you know, every new game potentially expands the market, right? Because every game is a little different, and maybe a theme will communicate or connect with somebody and bring them into the hobby that other games wouldn't. And vice versa. And these indie publishers have their own, networks that are bringing more people in. So some people say it's good. Some people say we need to like reevaluate. But I'm curious, what is your thoughts, David?
Yeah, so I'm going to do my absolute best to keep my thoughts as succinct as possible, just because man, I've got a lot of them, and so I guess kind of if I focus on the actual question as it's worded, are there too many games? There's a part like I like the question, and I think it's a great question, but there's another part of me at the same time that also thinks, what's the point of deciding or having an opinion on if there are too many games or not? Just because whether I believe there are or not, that's not going to really change anything. And so, I mean, I think of barriers to entry in any industry. Technology tends to lower the barriers to entry in a lot of industries. And so, and I also think back to one of my college professors' books called The Smart Marketer's Toolbox. And he talks about with the advent of social media, Google AdWords, and things like that, that advertising is a lot more accessible than it has ever been. But now what we have are just a lot of babies banging at the piano, but you still have the opportunity to be the Billy Joel that plays a
Yes.
beautiful tune that will break through the noise. And so with
Oh, I love that so much. Keep going.
yeah, and so whether there are too many games or not, I guess there's a part of me that doesn't want, I don't know, that doesn't feel a need to spend too much time on that, just because it's happened with other industries. And so, and if that's happening with board games because things are more accessible, then so be it. That just raises the bar for people who will need to perform. Or and I hope in the end, if we do things right as an industry, as hobbyists, that we really reward those who do so correctly, that we vote with our dollars. And I mean, this is getting on a separate like soapbox, because that we do our part in avoiding like the what's the word? Because I know on online there some publishers, Asmodee had issues with this. What's the word? Oh, with like counterfeit copies of games. So making sure that we're
Yes.
supporting like the true publishers and the artists and such that put in the work that to give us these great games.
Yes. I love so much about what you said, and this whole idea of like, you know, just because, the doors open and more people can get into the party, it doesn't mean, you know, it doesn't mean people are going to be crowded out necessarily. And there's a lot more games now. And man, you go on Kickstarter, you could scroll for an hour, through all of the projects that are launching. And but the beautiful thing I think about any industry is people are going to vote with their dollar, like you said. And I think, you say, are there too many games? You could follow up with that and say, okay, are there too many mediocre games? Is that the question? Are there too many big games? Like what? Because you'd have to dive a little deeper, because I think every person, for example, that does a Kickstarter, there's a lot of people. I could name a few off the top of my head that are new. They're indie publishers. They're launching a game into the market for the first time, and they're telling all of their friends and family. And there might be people that resonate with that game, or who would not have got brought into the hobby. Maybe that's the gateway game that gets them into it. And so I think it comes down to, do you have an abundance mentality or kind of a scarcity mentality? And there's the environmental factor. That's a whole separate issue. You could argue that, these people they get a game funded, and or they don't, and then there's just a huge storage unit full of unopened games that no one's ever going to buy. You could solve that issue separately, and there's something to be said about that. But for me, at least, I think the market will tell you know it will tell gamers and designers what's resonating with the market, and then that will rise to the top, and the Billy Joels of the gaming world will have their moment still. And in the meantime, the Justin Biebers playing on the street corner, who may not have had a chance in a previous decade, to get their game out there, might actually have a chance to get a genuinely good game to market. So that's kind of a non-answer, but I think, if the question is, are there too many games? Eh, I don't think so. I mean, there's definitely more games out there than I'll ever get to play, but that doesn't mean no one's going to play them and that they're not going to do any good. So I don't know. That's kind of where I would rest my case.
Right. Well, I don't know that I could give a better non-answer than that. So, yeah, if I had to pick a few words to summarize at least where I'm landing, and it sounds like you're not too far off from where I'm landing too. Like, I, I guess the answer is no, but it's not no because more is needed. It's no because, I mean, I don't care to define what too many is. I don't know who the authority of deciding what too many is, um, and like nothing's going to change that anyway. And so, I guess based on our experience at PAX Unplugged and just what I've had experience in the industry in the years that I've been in it, I just see that, hey, like if we have an opportunity to recognize those people that have the talent and have the ability to contribute and bring value to all of us, then help them along. Share what you can with them, whether it be, I mean, the biggest thing in so many ways really is just the relationships. and just being able to share those. Because I mean, yeah, you could try to share skills, but I mean that implies teaching. I don't know if there's another way to share skills other than either offering your services or
Right.
teaching somebody, but that's really hard to do. But I think what's I think got the best combo of like most impact and most value or and like easy to share is that like relationships, helping those Justin Biebers to be connect with the right people and
Right.
just being a part of that. And then I think we all benefit from that.
That's good. Well, one last closing thought is if you were to replace board games with any other like art form, it's kind of interesting. Like if you said, is there too much art? Is there too much music? Like I think the answer becomes pretty clear to those questions in my mind is no, I don't think so. I mean, just because maybe not huge numbers of people are listening or partaking of certain forms of art doesn't mean there's too much of it per se. But anyway, I think we've addressed the topic. So thanks for your thoughts. Let's move into the games we've been playing section of the show here.
Yes, yes. Oh man. Okay. First one I've been enjoying, Tag Team. I I regrettably ignored it at Gen Con. I I'm not super big into anime. It felt anime-ish to me. I passed. Neal showed it to me. I repent. I love it.
I will take full credit for that one, and that was so fun to play with you. And I've been playing with Abria, and she loves it too. I already talked about this one, but French Toast. Are you kidding me? Go watch my review for all my thoughts. But I just think it's the perfect party game. It's so easy. The concept's so simple. But every time, whether you win or lose as a group, it's just a good time. And I love French Toast. So that's my
Yes.
first one.
Okay, next one. And I know I just saw a review from you about this Shadow Ninjas.
Yes.
My kids have been loving it. And it's something that I want to talk about later, another time. I think just what's really telling to me as somebody in the industry is seeing what games my kids pull back out and put on the table. Every morning, it's been either Tag Team or Shadow Ninjas. And that's very telling to me.
Yes. Oh, dude, Shadow Ninjas is great. Outset Media has some really good ones. The other one, another all play. Sorry for the heavy all play. Torchlit. And again, full disclosure, I was demoing this game for all play, but I bought this copy, so they didn't give it to me, and I just love it. And I demoed the game for like, gosh, what 6-8 hours straight at PAX Unplugged, and every time, maybe there was one group that didn't quite light up, but every time I did it, by the end, people were like, okay, we want to play again. And for me, that's such a key indicator. If you end the game and you immediately want to play again, that's a telltale sign. So definitely like Torchlit. It's trick taking. There's a lot of trick taking games coming out, but it's very unique take on trick taking. So that's
Yes.
Torchlit.
All right, Trio. Still playing that. It's been out a few years now, but I have yet to. I don't think that I could count. I don't think I would need more than two hands to count the number of times I played that game and somebody does not purchase it. Everyone purchases it. I've worked the booth. I've sold it to stores. It is so good.
Dude, that was the first game we sold out of when we were selling at the market was Trio. And it's just the art's great. It's such a simple concept. Always a banger, always a winner. The last game that I'll mention today that I've been playing is a bigger one. It's Battle of Hoth. It's just, we didn't have any war simulation strategy type games in our collection, and I heard good things about it. It's based on the Memoir 1949 game system, but it's Star Wars themed, so there's some nostalgia for me, and it's just great. Aubrey and I are on map 7 now, so we've gone through quite a bit of the game, and every time it's simple enough to pick up. There's big decisions, and it's very strategic, little chancy, but so fun and such a great theme. So definitely recommend Battle of Hoth.
Yes, great. Those are, man, good games. There's not too many. See, otherwise we'd run out of good ones to talk about and play.
That's right. Oh man, so many good games. Well, hopefully this was a fun time, David. I'm so excited to be doing this with you. It's awesome to just be, chatting about something we love with somebody that I just admire and look up to. And And we've got lots more great content on the way. You can follow us on social media, Good Apple Games. And then David, you are, what are you now? David
On
Plays?
Instagram, David Castillo Plays.
David Castillo Plays. So definitely give us a follow on Instagram. And as always, the subscriptions, the likes, the reviews, all of that stuff really makes a difference. And we will be reading any reviews that come up, whether they're positive or constructive. We won't say negative. We'll read those on this show. And anyway, we're just really excited for this. Thank you so much, David. Any last words?
No, thank you for having me. And next time we'll talk about, are there too many podcasts?
Yeah,
No, I'm just kidding.
that's a good one. No, now there is after ours. Now no more. But anyway, thanks for joining, everybody. We'll see you next time.
See ya.